Good evening. It might take a few minutes for people to pop in. I know Andrew emailed me this morning to let me know that he was going to be late. He might not even make it tonight, he said, but he said he was going to try, right? He doesn't like to miss the lives, but if you're in, pop in, say hi, let me know where you're from, right? And if you've been to my lives, I do a live every Sunday. We call it Chatters Live, and we leave it usually as an open discussion, but I try and slide in a little bit of mindset here and there. And I in the summertime, in the spring, I do a lot of outdoor explorers. I do a lot of nature and abandons. If you like urban exploration, I do a lot of those. You can check those videos out after the lives, or pop in another time. You can find me on all the platforms. I also post beautiful. I think they're beautiful anyway. I just talk about my life and stuff. Give my little bit of input into the workings of life, right? We all grow up so differently, and it's always neat to get a new perspective, right? How different people live in different places and in different cultures and different upbringings, right? And how their relationships trans what do you call that, transcribe over the course of your life, right? And even generations, right? I've been doing a lot of that lately too. I do a lot of exploring the inside as much as I do exploring the outside, right? So I've been delving again in the epigenetics, right? And I was thinking, if it would be something I would be interested in to maybe, do the, speaking, like to do that circuit. That would be fun. Like, I wouldn't want that to be like the only part of my job, but as an aspect, right? And then you have to give some thought, like, if you're going to do those. Oh, Andrew did make it in tonight. Oh, you got in here early then. Awesome. Yeah, I was just talking about some of my interests that I'm delving in right now, right? Yeah. I thought tonight we keep it fairly light. I don't know. It doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes we get into these deep conversations, these heavy conversations, but I was in the mood for some light, right? I'm going into a heavy duty week this week. Technically, this isn't my apartment anymore, right? Like I got my notice, right? So I have to make arrangements to find somewhere else to live, right? So yeah, it's going to be a very stressful, very busy week. I'm assuming it's going to be very busy, but very scary and stressful. And yeah. Oh, I'm not worried about the apartment. I'm not worried about it was time to move. It was time for a big change. I was almost, the door normally, like I'm one of those people that, oh, somebody's knocking my door. Like maybe I'll hide out until they they go away, right? But no, I just got up and I knew exactly what it was, and I went straight to the door, and yeah, I got my notice. And there was a great relief, right, over it. At the same time, it's scary, right? But there was a great relief, a sense of relief at the same time, because it's change, right? I need to make some big changes in my life, big changes, like right away changes, right? Yeah, in all aspects of my life. Like nothing seems to be going well for me right now. I'm very optimistic. I'm very optimistic, but at the same time, right? I'm trying to stay cheerful through the whole process, and yeah. It works out moment to moment. In the end, it works out, like, but yeah, I don't know. Interesting. It's interesting, right? So I don't know what's going on next week, people, if I'm going to have like a live next week, but I'm sure that you're all going to check, right? You're all going to pop in next Sunday just to get the scoop, right? Because I'm going to know exactly what direction I'm going in for sure, no doubt this week, right? I'm going to have to, yeah. Interesting, but I don't know what's going on, so I can't give you any more information than that. I don't know what this is going to do with some other legal aspects of, because I don't know if technically if I don't have a home address, right? Like, yeah. Yeah, I never even so things are popping into my head as it crosses me. But yeah, definitely next Sunday pop in, and it should be interesting. Isn't this a lovely sweater? This is a homemade sweater. Like I bought it at a secondhand store, but I bought it because somebody put so much love into it. And it's actually quite a lovely sweater. It's quite a lot. I'm really pleased. I'm wearing it, especially for winter. I find that the sweaters, especially it's really, really cold outside today. I went for a walk this afternoon to clear my head out a little bit, and I went out for, I'm not sure how long. I went out for a couple of hours anyway, 2 or 3 hours, to clear my head, and yeah. Well, just that's all I'm gonna say. Yeah. Holy crap. It is. It's a very comfortable sweater. I have actually a few. When I see those because sweaters take love, right? It's not like they're coming from a machine. And if somebody's putting love into something, like the quality is really, really good, right? Like I don't like to be choked, right? When I'm wearing, well, that's not quite true too, because I do like the turtlenecks too, right? But I like a lot of space, right? And I like the air to be able to flow through everything. Yeah, I'm very pleased. And the design too is very pretty. And the color, I like the color too. Yeah. And it's coming into the tail end of winter, isn't it? Right? It's another month, and it will be over. This is my year. I'm sorry. I just think how many times I say that. I'm just like the ultimate optimist, right? Just like yeah, I just in one of those silly moods today. Yeah. But it never ceases to amaze me either. Actually, today too, I'm working on my post, right? I've been off and on my post today, and I don't know. I got so into this word, and I realized that this word just isn't going to take one word. Like I usually will pick a word, and then I'll find a photograph to go with my word, or sometimes I'll find the photograph and then I'll find the word. It depends on how I'm being inspired for it, right? And then I usually go to town writing my posts, and sometimes they just flow really nice, and sometimes I stop. Sometimes I stop and go a little bit, and sometimes I start it at night, and sometimes I finish it in the morning, and because I like to do it properly, right? And each post kind of calls differently, so I don't really put any restrictions on it. But yeah, I decided I was going to do love, the word love today, and there's so many different aspects of that word love, right? Yeah, there's a love between a father and a daughter, or father and a son, and a mother and a daughter, and a mother and a son. Oh, Nancy, hello, welcome. We were just talking about the different types of love out there, right? The love you have for your neighbors and your coworkers, you know, your aunts and uncles, and they're just so many different types of love out there. And yeah, they just seem that they're just so thinned out, right? Me growing up, like I always had one person, at least one person in my life that absolutely loved me to death. Like always, I had one person, like that one person there for me. And I don't have that, right? You know, I don't have that anymore. Just kind of like floundering all on my own, right? You know? And it's scary, right? When you feel like you don't have that support, right? And that caring and knowing that you have that little bit of a, you know, what do you call that? The net on a trapeze that you can fall on, right? You know, if you make the wrong move, like I don't have that, and I made all the wrong moves, and yeah, now there's no cleaning up this mess. I'll be thankful to be able to pack up a few things, right? But yeah, I'll get that sorted this week. Oh, and Kathy's here tonight too. Isn't that a good idea? Me and Kathy were talking earlier today, right? About maybe putting on a polar bear safari, right? Maybe we could do something like you have to do it in the winter when the lakes are frozen and stuff, that we can get there, right? Because flying in there would just be absolutely too expensive. And you have to keep the groups are small. Like when I went in to check to see the polar bear safaris, like, you know, they're under 20 people, right? You know, on these safaris, that's why they're so expensive. Well, everything's expensive these days. But Nancy, it's so nice to see you today. How are you doing? Oh, you're home now. Oh, you don't have to say sorry, not in the least bit. Yeah, glad to have you back, right? Did you have a good trip? Did you enjoy your trip? Yeah, awesome. And Kathy's in here. Like last week we had none of the girls, I don't think. Oh, I think Kim popped in for a little bit last week, but then other than that, it was just the guys the last week, right? Yeah, yeah. You know, I used to daydream about that, you know, especially when I just kind of ended my marriage and stuff, and I wasn't even interested in going back into relationships, right? I just had enough. I wanted to, and not because I didn't like being in relationships. I really enjoyed them, but I gave up myself when I was in the relationships, right? So I used to daydream, you know, lots when, especially when I first my marriage first fell apart, and I would always dream about the guy that I could get together with, but we could just share everything, share the house, share the lifestyle, share everything, right? But just be friends. Yeah, and I used to imagine, you know, these relationships that I would have, right? You know, because I didn't want to get into a relationship today. I talked a little bit about that, you know, in my post for my Instagram tonight, right? But yeah, I took a break on it because, you know, I knew my live was coming up tonight, and I wanted to jot down some thoughts, right? You know, like a new plan of action. So I wanted to write my plan of action. You know what? I'm not even going to say what my plan of action is. I am just going to, because I know exactly what it is. Yeah, I know exactly what it is. So I'm going to just fold it up and put it in an envelope, and let's see how fast Cindy can accomplish this one. You know, I go for big ones. I don't shoot for those little goals, right? Like I don't mind doing the steps to the big goal, but I want to know what the big goal is right off the hop. I want to know what I'm up against, right? Oh, hi, Owen. Owen popped in now too. Yeah, big decisions. Big decisions are scary, but like I said, I just usually just ride the waves. I guess technically I'm squatting. I'm squatting now. You just gotta laugh at it. That's all you could do is you just all you could do is just laugh at it, right? Because you know you're going to be laughing at it. A year from now, I'm going to look back at this and I'm just going to say, yes, Cindy. I might even look back at this live video a year from now, and I'm just going to have just the best laugh over this whole thing. I'm sure I will. But yeah, let's hope next year I'll open this up next year. I'll leave this here for now, but next year I'll open that up and I'll everything on there will be true because I am going to be a master at manifesting. No problem. Yeah, I'm never ever going to get myself in this situation again. Mind you, I said I wasn't going to make bread again, and I made bread again this week, right? And then I said I wasn't going to make as many loaves, so I didn't eat as many bread, but I have no bread in the house today, so I'm really pleased with myself, right? So I'm just going to see if I can just do mostly eggs this week, I think, just eat lots of eggs. Spring's coming, right? I don't mind not losing any more weight, right now. Because I know come spring and summer, I'll lose another 5 or 10 for sure once I start getting active again, right? But right now, as long as I don't gain any weight, I'll be very pleased to finish off the winter. It's only another month, right? And I'll be able to get back on my bike. If I could take my bike with me. Actually, it's my sister's bike, so it'll just go back to my sister. She'll just have to make some room for it. I was very grateful for the bike while I had it. Man, remember when I got that bike? One day my bike got stolen, all my camera gear, my spare phone, my good charger, my good cord for my Pixel. Those are expensive, those cords too, right? I was lucky that I still had my dongle for the phone, but yeah, all those things are so difficult to replace, and I replaced none of them. Maybe a couple of the phone clips for my phone, for my monopod, right? But other than that, I never replaced any of it. And it was so handy dandy too to have that spare phone, because that Samsung had a really, really good camera on it too, right? And even though I wasn't using it as a phone, I was using it for the camera. So it was good, to have that extra charged camera there. This, I went and I did that mukbang, last week or the week before, right? And I made that big sled with all that bird feed and all the deer feed. If you haven't seen that video, it's my latest video. Go see it. It's really cute. I had so much fun doing. The whole day was just really just a beautiful day, and I know I seem selfish to want to have those days all the time. But the thing is, it didn't matter what I was doing, right? I happened to be, feeding bird and deer at the time, right? But I could have been doing anything, anything I was doing, I would have put that same kind of love into it, right? The same kind of joy and, and happiness into whatever I was doing. I'm not going out to have a miserable time. I'm going out to have a good time, right? And then my sister, she calls me on my optimistic posts, right? To not trying to, let people know, the situations that I really am in and stuff. But you know what? It's 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 something I have to do on my own, right? And when it's all over and done with, right? We'll have a good laugh. I have a good laugh over it. It'll make for great stories in any case, right? It'll make for some really great stories and well worth it, right? No matter, there's some bad stuff going on too, right? Some relationships breaking down and stuff, but if I could find some happiness for myself, doing what I absolutely love doing, right? Yeah. And I'm doing it, right? All I wanted was a voice and look at me, I got my Sunday lives. I got my great friends that always come and visit me on Sunday nights. And, we always have, such a great time, for that hour and a half that we get to spend. I really look forward to it, but I'm sure glad that Nancy's home. Welcome home, Nancy. Oh, you still haven't watched it yet. Wow, you're still busy. Well, I'm glad that you still make it to all my lives though, Owen. Yeah, but go check out that sled. It was really cool the way I made it up. I covered it in rhinestones. I got out my wood glue and my paint and all my little boxes, and I made little trays and everything. Yeah, it was lots of fun doing that, right? I miss being able to just enjoy doing things, catch my fancy and be able to do it. Now, you even got to figure out, oh, do I have enough bus fare, right? Am I going to have milk for the rest of the week? Who's going to knock on my door and drag me out of my house? I'm sorry. I just get these pictures. I just get these pictures in my mind, right? And I can't help but laugh at the situation. Oh, moving to Louisiana. I'm ready. I'm ready for a move too, especially with spring and summer coming up, and having lost some weight. It would be nice to get out there and, start seeing if I can put some kind of interesting life together for myself, right? So you notice the difference, eh, Nancy, it's that rain, right? That cold, miserable, right to your bone rain, right? Yeah. I know that's why the doctors sent my mom and dad to move to Manitoba, right? Because it was the dry, even though it was colder here in Manitoba, it was that dryness that my mother needed for her arthritis. And then my dad, he had the best doctors and the best scientists for his condition were here in Manitoba, right? So he came out here, to grab a few extra years, right? And I think that's what he got about 4 years. We moved here in 80. I think it was 84. My father passed away in 1984, right? So he had 4 years, and he had a casino here. He was so happy. I guess casinos just started getting legalized in Canada, right? You had to go into the States if you wanted to do gambling stuff, besides, playing your poker or the underground, what do you call that? Roulette casinos and stuff they had in people's basements and stuff, right? But yeah, my dad was really happy when he came to Manitoba and they opened up the casino at the convention center, right? Because yeah, he was always he was always there, right? And he took me too. I'd go with him all the time, and I usually just stood behind him and watched. He called me his lucky charm, right? I just stood behind him. I didn't really understand. He taught me how to play the blackjack, but I never had the love for it like my dad did, right? Yeah. Yeah, it was blackjack. That was my dad's favorite. He did slot machines, but only, standing by the, lobbies and stuff that the kids were watching, because the kids weren't allowed in the casinos, right? So, oh, William's here. William is here now too. But for this week, that's what I've been up to. I've been dealing with family issues and housing issues, and I expect yeah, some utility issues. I'm not laughing. I am laughing, but I'm just laughing at the situation that I've gotten myself in. It just seems so hopeless that I just have no idea, but I have 100% faith I'm going to come out with flying colors. I just have no idea how it's even possible to happen, but I guess you guys will all find out next weekend. And if I'm not here next Sunday, then Yeah, I'll leave a post on my community, right? My community tab. So you can check my community tab and you'll see that I'll leave a post there and let everybody know what's going on. Oh, good idea. Yeah. So one way or another you guys will see or hear from me on next Sunday. And yeah, at least this time I remember to make a cup of tea, right? Yeah, so yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know. Now there's other legalities now gonna be pushed into the situation that I'm in, right? I don't think I can go one way. Yeah, I'm gonna have to make some inquiries, right? I might have gotten myself in even a worse situation than I originally thought. But it's my problem, right? It's not like I'm going anywhere. It's like I'm still gonna be around tomorrow, right? You know, am I gonna make the McDonald's my home for a few days, right? Yeah, income tax return time coming right up. That will get me a place. Like if I have to go for a couple of weeks, right? And like I said, maybe I could swing a deal with the caretakers so that I can have a locker for a couple of months, right? While I'm getting my stuff together. Yeah. No choice. You gotta take it serious now, right? But yeah, so happy to see that Kathy's here too. If you pop in, say hello. Just pop into the chat. I know that if you haven't met my moderators here, we got Kathy and Nancy. They're all in today. Andrew and William and Owen, right? Oh, Sharon's not here, but Sharon's very busy too with her choirs and stuff too, right? And she's in the process of trying to find a new place to call home, right? Like all of us. Now's a good time, I think, for lots of us. I know Andrew was saying he was doing some decluttering. Oh, David's here. Happy Sunday, David. Nice to have you join us again. That was awesome. That's like three weeks in a row now that David's come and hung out with us. What do you do for a living, David? I don't know. I don't know too much about you. Like where are you from, Dave? Oh, Mexico, right, David? You said that you were from Mexico. I think he said he was from Mexico. Yeah. My sister and my brother-in-law went to Mexico one time, and then they brought this great big metal like knight in shining armor type uniform, and they strapped it to the roof of the car, right? And they drove it all the way back to Canada with the roof on the car. Yeah, and it didn't have a dent in it or anything. They decorated up for Christmas. They got all kinds of decorations, a top hat for it and everything. And then, oh yeah, and they make it up like Toyland. Like it's got all the stuffed animals and the trains and all the Christmas little ornaments all around its feet and holding it in its arms, and it's tucked in its armor and stuff, right? Poking out of its helmets. Yeah, so I love conversations pieces, right? I've always been one for conversation pieces, interesting pieces that people don't have, right? And yeah, I've got a few of them. I'm gonna have to make sure they get packed away because there's a few things that have been with me in my travels, right? But I haven't traveled very far, right? Since my marriage, this apartment here was only supposed to be temporary. When I moved into this apartment, when I split from my husband, I sent my sister some money to put a down payment on apartment for me, right? And she found this apartment. It was such a dive. When I moved in here, like the people had just left and they were cooking in the living room. They had like a little fire thing, and they were like, there was like great big stain on the ceiling and stuff. Like they were cooking in the living room, whole family living in this little one bedroom, right? And it was filthy. Oh, it was so bad. But I was such a mess. I just wanted to be left alone. Like I just wanted to get my stuff in here and just be left alone and I cried. I remember the first few days that I got back here and I walked in here and I saw this place. And yeah, I loaded up the truck and I drove my truck full of furniture to, and it was cheap. It was under $1,000. I remember that. Like it was cheap. And I actually slept because it took like a day and a half to drive here, right? And I remember I slept in the back of that van on my couch. I had like a great sleep too, right? And it was just like a little hotel room on the side of the road. I loved it. In the midst of my whole life falling apart, right? You know, you find those little wonderful moments, right? And I remembered I really, really enjoyed that drive back to Winnipeg. And then when I remember when I drove up, all my friends were waiting for me. All my old, because I moved to Edmonton when he got stationed. My husband got stationed there, right? But when I moved back, like all my friends were there waiting for me. And I was so stressed out, I couldn't be around anybody. I said, "Oh, I'm going to the store to get something." And then I was gone for like 2 hours. And by the time I got back, like the whole truck had been unloaded. The apartment was set up. Like, yeah, it was amazing. And then I just stayed in the apartment for a couple of days and I just bawled my eyes out for like 2 days, right? Just cried and cried and cried. Yeah, I remember that. And it was only supposed to be temporary, right? Until I could find something on my own. But it was so cheap. I think this apartment was like when I first moved in here, it was like $380 a month. A beautiful, beautiful neighborhood, like very sought after neighborhood. And yeah, it was cheap, cheap, cheap. And then it jumped from like 500 to like 700, right? You know, within a year they did a few renovations, right? And then they jacked the rent up, and I shouldn't have stayed, right? Because I really couldn't afford it. But then I was able to get on rent assist, right? So, and then they give you a few $100s every month to help pay the rent, to offset the rent, right? Then I lost that, right? Because now I have to go on a different kind of government assistance thing. And I'm not, yeah, I'll be working. I swear I will be working before that happens, right? That's in a couple of weeks away. But Jane, like I said, I have no idea where I'll even be tomorrow. So just gonna look at the comments here. Do you pray a lot, Andrew? Like on your own? I know you pray for me sometimes. A Franciscan hermit? Are you serious, David? Oh, I'm wow, and you made it and you found my channel, David, like 3 weeks now. Like you've been with us every Sunday for 3 weeks, but you're an actual monk? Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, David, for joining us, right? Yeah. Intercessory, is that what you call it? Intercessory? What is that? Explain that, Andrew. I have no idea. I have no idea what that is. A monk. Wow. And what made you decide to come to my channel, David? What was it about the channel that drew you in? Was it Andrew's love for God, right? Caught your eye? You know, did you think I needed a little bit of help? A little bit of God's grace? I've been thinking about that lots lately, right? You know, it's the thing that I notice when I don't have the control that I thought I had control, right? Like I thought like I was working through, my eating, right? Like I don't eat properly. Like I don't know how to do 3 meals a day, right? I don't know how to go without snacks. I don't even know if I want to go without treats. It's like some of the things that make life enjoyable, right? When you can go off and experiment and try new things, right? Like to go into a bakery and to take a look at a dessert case and then to pick something from a dessert case. Like that seems like such an amazing, wonderful adventure, right? To do. And I can't see myself saying, no, you can't do that because that cupcake is not good for you or that muffin's not good for you, right? Like you have to have a little bit of enjoyment in your life, right? And I guess I kind of feel that sometimes I have to what do you call that? Pick your shames, right? Pick the things that you can deal with, right? I just want to make sure that my body is healthy, right? I don't want to be a bad eater. I don't want to be like living my life on diets and punishing my body. Like my body worked hard for me my whole life. I abuse this body of mine, right? This body deserves to be taken care of, but at the same time, it deserves to have the things that it loves, right? At the same time, and this body loves this body loves a pastry case. That's for sure. I sure do love a pastry case. Not so much like a Tim Hortons pastry case, but like in a real bakery, right? When you see the brownies and the tarts and the slice, right? Oh, I just love like date slice in a bakery. Yeah, I love bakeries. Even like homemade buns and stuff when you can see like the cases are steaming up in the morning because the buns have just been put out, right? So those are the things I have problems with. Like if I'm busy, I won't even give them any thought, right? But if you give me any idle time, right, I'll go whip something up out of the cupboards, right? I'll find those ingredients and I'll whip something out just to, get that fix that I'm just craving, right? Yeah, so that's so if anybody has any great ideas, that's what I am looking for. I'm looking for a way that I can enjoy food. Like I love all kinds of food, so I don't want to limit myself to the types of food that I eat too, right? Like I can eat a certain way during part of the week and then eat differently on the weekends or something, right? I could do it, but it has to be whatever I do, it has to be consistent. So it's got to kind of fit in like a routine, right? I was also even saying something like no eating after 6 p.m. I could do something like that because I know that in the evenings I like to sit at the computer and I like to eat while I'm watching my lessons on the computer, right? Yeah, and see, and I do a lot of the carbohydrates, William, too, right? Because of the gastric bypass that I had. Like bread is something I can digest very easily. It breaks down very easily, but at the same time, it's something that can be stored really easy too, right? Like right now, I'm not super concerned about it, but I want to be aware of it, right? And if I can bite it in the bum, like right away, bite the problem in the bum right away, that would make me feel very happy, right? Because I would like to give myself, right? Because I worked hard, my body worked hard, so I would like to give those gifts, right? But and I'm not saying rewards because I really do not like the idea of reward and punishment, right? Because I would like to do and then I would like to receive. So I would just kind of say it like that, right? But yeah, so I would just like to find some way that I could give my treats to myself without depriving myself at the same time, right? I did so good, like 8 months. I spent 8 months and I lost all that weight in 8 months. And I know it's winter. I know winter brings me down, and I know the stress that I'm under right now. also puts that pressure on me not to eat properly too. It makes me want to, I didn't even pick my day this week to go off my diet. I just automatically went off my diet yesterday. Like, okay, today's the day I'm going off my diet. Like, yeah, no, we just can't decide that way, Cindy. Okay. Now you're not allowed to have another cheat day until next Saturday. So no matter what, like there has to be a week, a span in between now, right? Because I just decided that I was just going to go off my diet, but that was the stress, right? The stress. I went too long, like I had no money, like I went down to absolutely, like, I don't know, like I don't think it's not healthy emotionally as well as physically to look into your cupboards like that and know that you've gotten yourself in that situation, right? So yeah, I have no idea. It's a block. It's a block that's out of my. I can't say it's not, but because I don't know. I don't know, right? Like I'm doing everything I can to figure out what the block is. I know there's a definite block there, and I don't know. It just seems so odd that block. I have a couple of blocks in place that make it really hard for me, and I don't know why they're there. I can't ask for anything. I don't ask for anything. I asked to give me the thumbs up when you come in to watch my live chatters. Like if you like my lives, give me a thumbs up and share it around, because like I said, YouTube will give it some more views and share it out to more people if they think that people are enjoying them, right? But I don't ask for things for myself, right? I never ever have. And I know it has something to do with me being overweight as a little kid, asking, for second helpings and asking for dessert and being told no. I know it's kind of got something to do with that, right? But I was a little kid then, right? So I have a hard time denying myself what I want at the same time. Like I said, I want to give myself these things, right? I don't want to say no to myself. I want to say yes, right? I want to give my body the experiences that it deserved. Like I said, my body took really good care. My body took a big beating, right? It kept me healthy. It kept me going, and I wasn't giving it any help, right? I let myself get up to almost 300 pounds, right? I could have had a heart attack with my weight being that high. I could have given myself a heart attack. I could have given myself diabetes, right? More than likely, I would have had diabetes. The gastric bypass is a part of the operation is called a duodenum switch, right? They do this operation in Europe, and it will cure you from diabetes. Yes, diabetes is instantly curable. They don't do it in North America because it leaves you with malabsorption. That makes it so that you can't absorb nutrients, and you end up malnourished. That's why you always hear me talking about vitamins and minerals all the time, is because I have to take a lot of them, right? Because I don't absorb the vitamins and minerals properly. So and if I didn't, then I would be malnourished, and I would end up having lots of problems, right? I would end up, because remember what I said, pica, that condition I had that makes you addicted to things that aren't really food. It's like people who do chalk and stuff like that, right? Like that's a B12 deficiencies from not having enough B12 in your system, that you get those kind of cravings for those things, right? And yeah, I didn't know that, but it would just seem kind of strange where I would get into these kicks for things, and it would last for like a year, and then it would go away, and then I would pick up something else, and then everything would seem normal for a while, and then my health would get better, and I'd start losing weight, but then I'd start gaining weight again and not feeling good, and then the pica would return, right? Not realizing that it was part of my diet, right? It was part of taking care of myself to make sure that I didn't get that that condition. But I stumbled onto that. Google showed me that. I found out about pica probably about 8 or 9 years ago. I found out about it, right? And that's when those problems started going away once I got that under control, because I knew when I started picking up those bad habits again like that, that I knew that the pica was kicking in, and then I could just do a round of vitamins and start going for walks and bike rides and just spending a little bit more time outside, right? And then once I started feeling better, but then you forget. Once you start feeling better, then you come off your routines, and then it's a cycle, right? Just because you're feeling good doesn't mean you come off your vitamins. Yeah, I would like to do more vegetables. I could do vegetables. I don't know how well I would do with things like eggplant and yams and turnips and stuff like that, right? The only time I eat turnips is when we mash them with the carrots at Christmas time, when you do mashed carrots and turnips with the turkey dinner at Christmas. Other than that, I don't do turnips at all. And even making salads and stuff, I'm not big on that. I do like coleslaw though, and I've been eating lots of soups lately, buying big bags of beans and the chicken cubes, right? And like making bean soup. You just got to be careful not to eat too much beans, otherwise they give you intestinal issues. So I quickly found out about the beans, but yeah, you just got to get creative. But I would like to eat more healthy, right? But it's expensive to eat healthy like that. I was going to the grocery store, and you just want to pick up a tomato, and just for a tomato you're paying $2 or $3 just for a tomato, right? And then you wonder why the kids are living on Kraft Dinner, but they're not even living on Kraft Dinner like that anymore, because even a box of Kraft Dinner is going to cost you $2, right? It's just but again, it's never been consistent that way, right? For how much money you bring into a household, and then how much your cost of living actually is, right? Yeah, avocado. And again, I would think that there wouldn't be any flavor to that either. I'm not a big avocado. Like, I like nachos, so when I order nachos, like, they always give you that avocado dip to go with it. But I always say, oh, keep the avocado dip and keep the salsa dip. Just bring me extra sour cream, right? Because I just like my chips with sour cream, lots of sour cream, right? I must be craving nachos lately. I guess coming off the diet, is nachos is something that I've been craving, right? Because I've been thinking about it a few times. So, what is everybody else's good cheer today? Really interesting that David is a monk. Like, wow, I just honored that my little channel gets a little bit of God time, right? You know, yeah, it's much appreciated. I try to always keep it clean here, right, on this channel. Like, we don't do the swearing, right, and we don't treat people unkindly, and we accept all denominations, right, all kinds of denominations, right. It just takes all kinds to make the world. And yeah, I think we have the best crew. Everybody's just compassionate, and they take care of each other, right? Yeah. I'm so happy that I have my Sundays, my Sunday lives. They mean so much to me, right? They bring a whole bunch of joy to my life. Even tonight, like, it didn't give me any thought. Like, I was having such a terrible, 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 up and down, because just a lot of stress that I'm going under right now, right? And so my mood was just, but I never even gave it any thought, whether whatever my mood is, I know that it's going to come out properly, right? Yeah, and like I said, I'll come back later on, and I'll go over my life, just to make sure there's no swearing or nobody was mean or not like any of that happens on my channel anyway. And lots of times also I miss the conversation. Sometimes I get so into the topics that I choose and I just start rambling on about stuff, and then I miss all these great comments going on in the chatters, right? So I like to go over my chatters live afterwards, and you know and yeah, so I always get lessons myself when I watch them. I go, holy cow, like I don't even remember talking about that. And yeah, and then I end up getting a little lesson myself, right? You know, or I find myself using a word, I'll go, huh, I I don't think I've used that word in a conversation in like years and years. Like what made me think to say that word, right? But I find that also in my writing, right? When I write for my Instagram, like I throw my photo up there, but I like to tell a story, right? So and I've been practicing that way too. I would like to get good enough that I can forward proper grammarly, right? I know I should be practicing myself so that I could be a lot better in my own grammar myself, but I think Grammarly is so good. If they could pick it up and construct my sentences and my commas and all that for me, that would be great. Because I think I'm okay with the words. And in my mind, when I tell the story, like it comes out okay. But I know that I don't structure the sentences well, right? But that's nothing that Grammarly can't fix for me, right? So I'll just have to make sure that when I get serious about my writing, because what I would like to see is my Instagram posts. If I can collect enough of them, I would like to see them go into a book. I would really, and that's actually something I want to talk to Kathy about, right? Because Kathy does those colorings, adult colorings. They're just beautiful. If you haven't been to Kathy's Nichols Instagram, she has beautiful colorings that she does, right? So I thought, and I know she collects them, right? To her collections, my posts, right? I'm pretty certain because I can see, it makes me happy when I go in and I see people collect my posts, right? When they collect them, but I'm pretty certain that it's Kathy collecting them. But I thought, if she's collecting those posts, right? She knows what I'm talking about when I write those posts, that if she comes across a coloring that would represent that post, wouldn't that be amazing if maybe we could put a composition of a book together with her colorings, right? And my posts, and we could make a book. Wouldn't that be something? Yeah. Not like the last book went well enough, but it was an idea that popped into my head, right? Because that's what I really would like to go. If I could get like 300 of those posts together, and I go back into them every once in a while and I edit, because I know I get into a flow, right? When I write my posts, and I go in later and go, oh, that's not even structured properly, and then I do my edits every time. Like I go in and I clean up my posts all the time, right? Because I know that eventually they will make it into a book, like the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. Wouldn't that be amazing if I had my own book of, and they're not quotes, they're just life experiences and life lessons of my own, right? You never know. Somebody might find them interesting, because I try to keep them in mind, like because they're built from my experiences, and not just my experiences, but things that I witnessed. Because there was a great big part of my life where I was actually not a participant, right? That I was actually a spectator. I was always active. I was always interested in knowing what was going on. So even if I wasn't actively a part of it, I was always there. Not like a lurker or anything. I tried to be involved, and I always tried to make sure that, people knew I was there, right? Because I did want to be seen and I did want to be heard, right? But yeah. Anyway, that's that. Oh, yeah, I've never gone that route, right? I do remember that I went for assistance, like, 'cause when I made the appointment, the lady said, "Did you ever go for assistance before?" And I said, "Well, I think a couple of years ago I came in. I was only there for a couple of weeks, right? Because all I wanted was a job, but I didn't know I had nothing coming in, right?" And she looked at it and she goes, "Oh, it wasn't a couple of years ago." She said, "That was 10 years ago." I said, "Okay, well, that's, I guess, why I didn't want to be on assistance, right? That because I was only on it for a couple of weeks, and I think my hand was forced, right? I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to, that way I can't go backwards. I don't mind staying where I'm at, but I do not want to go backwards. Whatever it takes, I'm just going to do everything I can just to make sure that at the very least that I don't go backwards, right? I work too hard to get to where I am right now, right? I've got plans. I want to help other people. How can I help other people if I can't even help myself, right? So yeah, we're going to just concentrate on pulling Cindy out of this mess, right? And then I'm going to start pulling I'm just going to start pulling other people up right behind me, right? Yeah, like to see everybody doing a little bit of good with their lives, right? And I do have that video, right? That video that I wanted to do about my childhood that Evan Carmichael put together for me, right? And he did such a beautiful job. It turned out really, really well. He added the music and everything. He did such a good job on it. And even I cried when I watched it, right? Because it takes you back then, right? Now I can look at it differently than for what it really was, right? But but um but yeah, at the time that it was happening to me, I was totally just absorbed in what was happening to me. I didn't care about what anybody else thought or what anybody else was going through, you know. And this morning, like, it was my thought when I got up this morning, I was throwing a little bit of a thought that way, and I was thinking, that yeah, I remembered, after that morning, that Christmas morning, and my mother locking herself in her bedroom, and I could hear her crying like all day. That's all she did was just cry, cry, cry. And I just always assumed that she was crying because of what she had done to me, right? That I had finally snapped, and I thought she felt terrible that Christmas day that she had done that to me. But I don't think now that maybe she wasn't even crying for me, right? I still think that that whole situation, there was something more to it than what I was privy to as a child, right? I was a teenager by then, but it was something other than what I was privy to, right? And I was only looking at it to how it was affecting me, right? So I didn't even think, like, maybe my dad wasn't at a poker game, right? You know, I don't know the story. Like, I only know it as I perceived it at that age, right? And we all know what kids can, what they got imaginations, what they can put together, because I always had a crazy imagination. I used to imagine my parents breaking up and I would be building my life with my dad, oh, I'm going to live with my dad and this is where we're going to live. And oh yeah, I'd have it all, I'd have it all planned out and everything. And then I'd be all disappointed when the fight was all calmed down and everything. And yeah, every time they got into a big fight, I'd be making my plans. Yeah. I knew everybody would go with my mom, but oh yeah, I would have gone with my dad in blink of an eye. 47 and a half years you have been a monk. Holy moly, that's a long time. That's a big part of your life. I don't know what the route is that I'm going down. I know there is some spirituality on my end. I just haven't seen it. I just haven't seen it yet, right? But I'm being absolutely open to everything, like to every possibility, because I know there's something. I just don't know what it is. But yeah, David, yeah, I'm so glad that you found my channel. I'm so glad. I'm just honored that that these intellects, right, that they enjoy our conversations. But what else is everybody doing tonight? I may have to look into that what do you call, oh, here they call it Winnipeg harvest. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just dragging my nails in this whole story, and like I said, it's all coming to a head right now. So you guys will have just as much idea as I do next Sunday. When I come on next Sunday, I'll have a clearer picture as to what's going on with my life. At the very least, I'll be able to get into a work program, right? Because it's not working. Working is not a problem for me. Like, once I get into the work, like, I'm happy to be working. Working is not the problem. It's the ask, right? It's the ask. Like, yeah, it's a serious block, and I'm not even sure. And it's not like I'm afraid to ask, right? I know I should be asking, but it's just some kind of block there that just makes it so that I can't ask for myself. I can ask for others. But I can't ask for myself. And I don't know if I talked myself into that, but I'm sure trying to talk myself out of it, because yeah, it's not, it's something about it is not right. But yeah, I'm paying attention to it, and I'm paying attention to the people that are paying attention to me, right? Like, so I know that energy level is going to be low, 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 if anybody out there is messing with me, right? And I know that I am being taken care of. Like, I do know that much, right? So yeah. Hmm. I would like to think that everybody has my best interest at heart, right? I would like so many people helping me on this journey, and me learning so much, right? All different types of denominations, like all amazing, smart, beautiful men and women, right? Like, I have my main people that I like to stick with. But it's so wonderful that I'm getting this help from so many other people helping me out, right? But that have different views and different ideas about life, right? And they're just sharing. It's aw, David, that's sweet. Yeah. When I went to the park with the sled, for the deers and the birds, when I made that sled, and I went up there and I was walking through the English garden, everything was dead. Like, the deers did a good job in there, right? Once the snow came, it was probably the best place in the park for the deer. So that's why I dragged the sled there, thinking, oh, I'll get some deer action in there, right? But when I walked in there with the sled, this gentleman stopped me and said, "Oh, that's so pretty." And we started talking and telling him what I was doing and why I was doing it and stuff. And then he asked me about church, and yeah, he said, "Oh, can I pray for you?" And I said, "Oh, you sure can." And then he just like put his arm on my shoulder, and he just stood there and closed his eyes, and he just prayed for me. Like, it was so pretty, right? Like, in the English garden at wintertime with my sled, and then somebody actually was kind enough just to actually stop me and offer me a prayer. Yeah, it was a much needed prayer too. And I think it wasn't a half an hour later when I got surrounded, by all those deer, like so many deer. So I couldn't even imagine how many deer there were. There were way more than 20 for sure. I should have counted them, right? But they were surrounded, they were all around, they were all around me, right? Then David, maybe what's the difference, David, between following Jesus and being a Christian? I always thought they were the same, right? And then the past couple of, I've seen some videos being suggested to me, right? Because I am interested in the religion, right? And different denominations and stuff. But I noticed that a couple of the videos, the words were segregated, like Christianity and Jesus were segregated. They weren't considered the same. Like what was one title is Why I Left Christianity for Jesus. And I thought, well, isn't that the same thing? Like Vatican, right? They're Christians, even though they're Catholics, like they're Christians, right? And they believed in Jesus, right? So I was kind of confused. And wanted to know why somebody would consider somebody who follows Jesus as not Christian. Oh, so they are the same. Well, that's good to know, David. Yeah, because that's the way these videos have been suggested to me, as if they were separate, right? I know there's the first Testament and the Second Testament, right? Or the Old and the New Testament, right? So but they're still Christians. They're both considered Christians, right? But yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, it's just I guess just the way they made the title of the video to draw your attention, right? It's the thing, right? It's the same thing with my posts on my Instagram, right? It's the word's supposed to catch your eye, right? Yeah. I did a really cute video post last week, and I found this post of this fox that was doing a flip in the snow. I guess it was trying to catch a mouse or something underneath the snow, but it was doing a flip, right? And it reminded me of a story of when I was a teenager, when I was doing the parallel bars, right? And I titled it the backflip. The post is doing really, really well, right? And it's, yeah, my videos or my posts are still get views. Like I know that like 7 or 8 of my last posts are like my top 12s, right? So, which is really, really good because like the ones that have been, sticking up front have been old posts, like a year old, more than a year old. So it's nice to know that my new ones are getting some traction, but they don't get the engagement, like they don't get the likes and the thumbs up like the videos do, right? But I like my Instagram the way it is right now. I was kind of thinking that I would like to keep my Instagram kind of, Seth Godin does that, right? He puts his thoughts out there once a day, right? Once a day he'll pick a topic and he'll throw his thoughts out, and he does quite well for him, right? And it frees up time so he can do other things, right? If I decide that I want to go into marketing, or if I want to do some traveling, or if I want to work on my explore videos, like it will free me up to know that I just have that one post on Instagram every day, and I can share that around. And as my brand expands, then then at that point, once I get able to get to the point where I can bring some staff on board and stuff, and that way I can I like to think that they were waiting for me, but they just appeared, David. Like I swear they just, I was walking down and I saw one in the bush, and then I walked up with my tray, and then they started all coming, but they weren't coming out into the clearing. They were staying in the forest part, right? But I could see them, and it was so neat. And then I guess they found a trail and they started walking up the trail single row up the, it was such an amazing, I'm still thinking about it. It was such an amazing experience, right? And that's what I would like to do, get to the point where I could just, just document my life, right? Because I know that if I'm looking, and if I live life happily, and explore and do the things that I'm drawn to do, that miracles are shown to me, right? Like real ones, that maybe I could be able to catch and share with everybody else, right? It's worth it just for me to be able to have those days where I'm actually like, wow, like wow. I had lots of those last summer, like lots of those last summer, those little miracle moments, that day in the garden with that moth, right, that fluttered and up against my cheek and thanked me when I saved its life, and that day when the doves, or not the pigeons, when the pigeons flew into my house, right? And yeah, stared out my picture window and pooped on my couch. Right? Yeah. Lots of neat things. Lots of neat things. But yeah, they only happen when I'm happy though, right? You know, Nobody's spared if I'm not happy, right? So I've got to get to the point where I can be happy, because then that's when the magic happens, right? Is when I'm happy, right? And then the universe wants to show me the dazzle and amaze, because they know it and they love it when I get excited about the things they show me, right? Or he shows me, or it shows me. Yeah. Hmm. Hi, Leona. That was my we called her Auntie Noni because we couldn't say Leona, right? Yeah, but my Auntie Noni, and she was most amazing lady. We used to go and have lunch at her house every day. We'd walk down because she had an outdoor swimming pool in her complex, and we'd go down to go swimming, and she always made us lunch and everything. Yeah. Yeah, I love that name, Leona. It's a beautiful, beautiful name. Do they call you anything short? Do you go by Leona May, or do you? Because that's nice. Because I quite often go by Cindy Jean, right? I would like to think once my brand starts going and once my name starts getting out there, that I would prefer to be called Cindy Jean, right? Just to pay homage to my mother, right? We didn't always have the best relationship, but I think my mother always did the best she could by me, right? I think after a while, I probably did not make it easy for her either, right? And I wasn't very sympathetic to the problems, and I'm not giving excuses for what happened, right? It should never have happened. But at the same time, I feel that it's such a big part of this story that I would have to give her credit to, right? But I was thinking Cindy Jean would be very good, right? It would be unique that, when people start talking about Cindy Jean, they would know exactly who it is instead of just saying, oh, Cindy, right? Cindy Jean. That would be my brand name. Like it'll always be Prairie Dodgers, unless Prairie Dodgers, becomes a different company. I don't know what I'll do with my brand Prairie Dodgers, but I'll be always here doing what I'm doing, right? That won't change. I guess I should have plugged in my phone too, because I'm still going to have a post to finish up, right? It's in there rough now. Like the post is done, but it's rough now. What I got to go in is I got to go in and I got to whoopsie. I got to go in and I got to do the tags now, right? And then I'm going to have to clean up all the sentences and make sure that they flow in properly. And then I'm probably going to have to take out a couple of paragraphs, right? Because I put too much in my posts, right? I get rambling on, and there's a lot of unnecessary, like, leaving it in for somebody who likes my posts, right? Who likes to get into them. That's always a little bit of extra, right? Into the story, but it's unnecessary, right? The post is good enough just by cutting out those things, right? I've got to learn to not be so wordy in my posts. I remember when I went to Nova Scotia, It was absolutely amazing, so beautiful, and the people there were so amazing. We went there, it was, 93, it was in May. It was May, and they had the most wicked snowstorm, like, in a span of, like, 8 hours, there was, like, 6 feet of snow, right? And me and my husband, we went off the road, and a tractor came by and hauled us out and then hauled us over. We went to visit one of my husband's friends that was in the military, right? He got stationed at home. He was on vacation leave or something. And we decided to go visit him and his family. But when we got there, they had to haul us out of the snow with the tractor, and we went back to their place. And they had a cottage, a summer cottage. They lent to me and my husband to spend the a couple of days in, and we went over to their place and so lovely. They were such love, and the mother had Alzheimer's, right? Which was really really hard on the family, but such a happy family and so giving. Like, they were so lovely to us, right? And I just remembered, like, how much I enjoyed Nova Scotia. We went to Magnetic Hill. It was a big hill. Yeah, it's supposed to be magnetic. And I wanted to go over to Cape Breton, right? We did make it over to Prince Edward Island, and I love taking the ferry over there, right? And seeing all the red dirt on the island and everything. Yeah, I just really, really love the Maritimes. I really love the Maritimes. But that's kind of neat. Now we got a couple of people from Nova Scotia. Yeah, come that way. I would love to do. I'm not sure what I think about the Oak Island situation. I think, finding a couple links of chain doesn't call for ripping up the island, right? That there would be a treasure. If there was anything, I think they would have found it by now, I'm sure, right? But you never know. Mind you, they have those satellites that can go right through the ground from the sky, right? And they can see a good 10 meters into the ground. So if there was anything there, they should be able to see it with those satellites, right? I mean, they find those ships, right? When those seas dried up, right? And the seas turn into deserts, right? And they find those big ships in the sand. I mean, they do that, and they find those with the satellite, right? But I'm trying to think what else I got to cover with everybody. Um, yeah, it's I'm doing as well as I can be expected to do. My sister seems maybe a little bit disappointed that I'm just not a total mess, but I'm okay with that. Um yeah, I can't live that way. I'm a different person. I'm a different person now, right? And I'm very grateful for all the help that my sister has given to me over the years and everything. But this isn't about money, and this is about, not about, even about family, right? It's about respecting boundaries, right? It was sad, I didn't say, at Christmas, how lovely, what a great time we had at Christmas and everything, and how nice my sister was to me and everything at Christmas. But I didn't mention, like, every time I left the room, and she would say those things, and I would just ignore it, right? And not let it bring me down and everything, right? But know at the same time that everything she was saying to me, she didn't really mean it. She was just saying it to keep the peace for Christmas, right? And then as soon as Christmas was over, it was just back to the same old. And I can't keep repeating. I can't keep repeating this stuff, right? I can't repeat it anymore. It's a lesson when it keeps smacking me in the face and keeps coming back every time I do it. It's a lesson, right? It means take a break. It means we both need to take some time to get some healing done, is what we need to do, right? So so that's what we're going to do. We're going to both take some time for each other, and we're just going to heal our own wounds, and I want to see if I can make something of my life, and and then come back and show her that that yeah, it was worth it. It was worth it, right? So okay, everybody. Fiona May. Holy moly, Leona. That's just, oh, you just sound like such a Cindy person. I just want to have it, and I feel the exact same way. But yeah, I think that's what I'll do, Cindy Jean, is I'm just gonna keep it, and then I would just maybe get to the point where everybody just calls me Cindy Jean, just pay that respect to my mother, to the ancestry part of my story, right? Well, Evan just uploaded. This is how you make big changes. See? And that's what got me through, right? These motivational videos that he puts together. I'm glad to see that he puts more of himself into his videos, right? Instead of featuring other people so much, that he's now, he's learning his own value, right? And yeah, it's really nice to see that he's getting that confidence about himself, right? And it's happening with me too. And it's happening fast, right? Like it's happening fast. It might look like an absolute disaster from the outside, but yeah, that's from the outside. I think everything will be fine. Yeah. It's just a matter of dealing with a lot of stuff that I probably just don't feel like dealing with right now, right? And I'm not afraid of doing it. I would just rather not, but I'm not opposed to doing what has to be done, right? If it has to be done, uh, oh, thank you. Yeah, it was my mother's. I even painted that name on my boat when I bought my boat, with my inheritance. When my mother passed away, I used it and I bought a boat, right? And I painted the boat and I named the boat Genie, right? And I put like Genie from the television show. I made like an Aladdin's lamp, and then I wrote Genie with the name on the side of the boat. I was so proud of myself getting that boat, right? I even got my boating license and everything. So at least I have my boating license if I should ever want to buy a boat, right? Wouldn't that be wonderful to live on a little tree, or not a little tree? Well, treehouse would be nice too, but a boathouse, oh, wouldn't that be nice? I would love to live in a boathouse. Yeah. And we have a few boathouses here in Manitoba. I mean, they're not in the water in the wintertime. It would crack the wood, right? Because how contracted it gets here and how cold it gets. But yeah. Aw. Thank you, Leona. Thank you so much. That gives me a little bit of confidence, and it's nice to know that somebody that thinks like me is here with me too, right? Because I feel that way, right? I feel that way. And yeah, I don't know what the plan is. I know there's a plan. I just don't know what it is, and I just play it by ear, right? When I have these moments, then I just jump into it, and it reveals a little bit, and yeah, then I go back to searching for more answers. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Yeah. But everybody, it is the end of the night now. Thank you. Thank you for adding me to your prayers. Thank you, everybody, for adding me to my prayers, or to your prayers, right? They're much appreciated. I know lots of us, we tend not to include ourselves in the prayers, right? But yeah, it's nice that you guys, even if I don't remember myself, right, that you guys remember me in your prayers too. But everybody, have a great night. Like I said, one way or another, next Sunday, you'll find me in the community tab, or you find me here. Before you leave, give me a wave. give me the thumbs up. You can share this out if you like. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Have a great night, everybody. Night, Nancy. It was nice seeing you back. I hope you had just a wonderful time on your vacation. I'm so glad that you got away from Seattle. I know it's cold and damp and rainy. Okay, everybody. Have a great night. Bye-bye.